Hello everyone, today I will be reflecting on my story behind the story project about Japanese American incarceration during World War II. For this project, my group explored how the dominant narrative often presents Executive Order 1966 as a necessary wartime action, while the reality is that over 120,000 Japanese Americans lost their freedom, homes, and rights, despite most of them being innocent citizens. The two pathway outcomes I choose are critical thinker and collaborative leader. I choose critical thinker because I analyze different historical perspectives and question the dominant narrative. I choose collaborative leader because I helped organize much of the project, created most of the slides, hosted meetings at my house, and worked with my group members to complete the final product. The purpose of this project was not only to learn about history, but to uncover the human stories behind it and help others understand why remember these events matters today. Counter narrative. The dominant narrative surrounding Japanese Americans' incarceration is that it was necessary for national security after Pearl Harbor. However, through my research, I learned that this narrative leaves out the experiences of thousands of innocent people who were targeted because of their ethnicity. Our counter narrative focus on showing that fear and prejudice can lead to violations of civil rights. Our project was a rotating carousel made of three connected boxes. The first box represents Japanese Americans' incarceration during World War II. The second box connected the story to modern immigration issues and ICE, showing how fear and stereotypes can continue affecting communities today. The third box asks the question, who's next? This was meant to encourage viewers to think about what could happen if people stay silent when other other people lose their rights. Our goal was not to say the situations are exactly the same, but to encourage people to recognize patterns of discrimination and think critically, critically about how society responds to fear. My CER number one, critical thinker. I demonstrated critical thinker throughout this project. One piece of evidence is the research I conducted on Executive Order 1966 and the experiences of Japanese Americans. Instead of, instead of simply accepting the dominant narrative, I analyzed different sources and asked questions about why innocent families were incarcerated. I learned that many Japanese Americans lost their freedom not because of evidence against them, but because of fear, racism, and political decisions. This evidence shows that I can examine historical events from multiple perspectives rather than accepting one version of the story. Critical thinking matters because the story is often more complex than it first appears. By questioning narratives and examining evidence, we can better understand injustice and make more informed decisions in the future. CR number two, collaborative leader. I also demonstrated collaborative leader during this project. One piece of evidence is the role I play in helping organize our work. I created most of the slides, for example, with Miss Gabby in Algebra 2, with Mr. Wang, with our record voice, etc. I hosted, I hosted meetings at my house after school I contributed many ideas for the carousel and worked closely with my group members to complete the project. Although everyone contributed, I often took the initiative when tasks needed to be completed. I also lis- I also listened to feedback from my group members and considered their ideas when making decisions about presentation and artwork. This shows that leadership is not just about doing work independently. independently. It is also about helping a group stay organized, communicating effectively, and making sure everyone contributes to the final product. This experience helped me develop stronger teamwork and leadership skills that I can use in future projects. Reflection and growth. This project changed the way I think about story. Before this project, I knew that Japanese Americans incarceration happened, but I didn't know fully understand the personal impact it had on families and communities. Through research, I learned that history is not only about events and dates, it is also about people whose voices are often overlooked. One important lesson I learned I learned from the feedback and critics was that the message becomes more powerful when it is clear and supported by evidence. Because of this feedback, I improved how I explain the connection between Japanese Americans incarceration, current immigration issues, and the question who's next. This project also taught me the importance of reflection and revision. Instead of viewing feedback as criti- criticism, I learned to see it as opportunity to improve my work. Beyond this project, these lessons will help me in college, future jobs, and everyday life. Critical thinker will help me analyze information and make informed decisions. Will collaborative leader will help me work effectively with others. More importantly, this project taught me that a story should be remembered honestly when we understand the mistakes of the past. We are better prepared to protect justice, dignity, and human rights in the future. Thank you.